Friends. So our learning target today is I can solve one-step addition and subtraction equations. So for our steps for solving today, we are going to do something called build house around the variable. And then step 2 will be to build a fence, clean the yard. That's just some expressions that I use. And finally, then we'll check. On that third check step, we're basically going to check to see if the solution is correct, like we did in our last lesson. So we take the value, we plug it in. Does the left side equal the right side? Is it the solution of the equation? And we just practice that. So in our work today, we're just doing one-step equations with addition and subtraction. So we have to think about inverse or undo operations, knowing that when we add and we subtract, we undo an operation because add and subtract are opposites. So to solve, we will have to do opposites in our process. Okay, so here's our plan for today. Our job is to find the value of x. And I would like you to follow this procedure in doing so. Even if you can figure out the value of x in your head, we're going to start to move to we're going to move out of integers when we get to other units where you're going to be working with decimals, fractions, parts, and it won't be as easy to do it in your head. So you do have to have some sort of procedure of getting there when we can't just do mental math. Okay, so here's our concept. We're going to build a house around the variable. So I just want you to build this little house around the variable. And then I want you to build a fence at the equal sign. So I want you to think that the left side has to equal the right side, or your yard versus, there's a fence between your yard and your neighbor's yard. So the house is your house, right? So there's this concept of you're inside your house, that's the x value. We want to know what's inside the house. And then this idea of what we call clean yard just basically means clean up everything out of your yard, and I want you to throw it over the fence. Grab it and throw it over the fence. But mathematically speaking, the only way to do that is you have to undo the operation. So the sign right now says add 4. In order to undo the operation, we're going to subtract 4. And I need you to write subtract 4 right below it as I'm doing. And I want you to draw a line. And then we're going to do this thing called copy paste, which is whatever you do on one side, you have to do on the other side to keep the equation balanced. So we're going to do copy and paste. So whatever you wrote on the left side, you're going to copy it and paste it on the right side. So this is exactly what I need your work to look like. You should be writing this down. So if you need to pause the video right now and get yourself some paper or a whiteboard to work on, that would be great. All right, so we have this. If I haven't used it, drag it down. And I'm going to still put x inside the house. Struggling on the x there. And we have a positive 4 and a negative 4. If we were to tug of war that, we would end up with 0, which is exactly what we wanted because we were trying to clean the yard. And then on the right side, I want you to tug of war this on the right-hand side. So we have 3 players on team negative right here. And we have 4 players on team negative. Notice nobody showed up on team positive. So all of these players, all 7 players, are on team negative. So the very last step is to do what's called check. So when we check, what we're going to do is we're going to take this negative 7 and we're going to put it in the x spot. Is this the correct solution like we just practiced? So we're going to say negative 7 plus 4. That's what this statement says. Negative 7 plus 4, does that equal negative 3? Is that true? So if I were to tug of war this, and I have 7 players on team negative and 4 players on team positive, who's stronger, negative? How many extra players? 3. So yes, that is a true statement, that negative 3 on the left side does equal negative 3 on the right side. So negative 7 is the solution for x. Now, if that's confusing or you struggled, you need to pause the video, rewind, and watch it again. This is a super, super important skill for the beginning of algebra. So this is our pre-algebra work here. All right, so I'm going to go to the next example. I'm going to erase all this stuff just so I have some space and a nice clean area to work off of. And we're going to solve this other problem to the right here. So what I'm going to ask you to do is work through the steps. So first step is to build a house around the variable. So the variable is x, I build a house around the variable, and then I build a fence. My next step is to clean the yard. So anything in the yard, in my yard, because here's my house, in my yard, it's got to go. So I'm going to grab it and throw it over the fence. In order to do that, we have to go opposite or inverse. So right now that says subtract 7. So the opposite of subtract 7 is to add a 7. And then we do this thing called copy, paste, copy, paste. Grab it, copy, paste. Whatever we do to one side, we have to do the other side. Make sure your paper looks exactly like that. Exactly like that. There's a line. You show the copy, paste. I need you to show your steps. If I haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. If we tug a word this, it becomes 0. And all of your math teachers the rest way, all the way through, are going to ask you to show your work this way. This is the foundation of it. So this is exactly what I need you to do. We have 2 players on team negative, and we have 7 players on team positive. Team positive wins. How many extra players? 5 extra players. So now let's check to see, is it the solution? So we're going to take the 5, and we're going to plug it in here. Is this true? So let's rewrite the statement and check it out. Is it true that 5 subtract 7 equals -2? Well, if I were to tug a war, 5 subtract 7, I have 5 players on team positive, 7 players on team negative. Negative is stronger, 2 extra players. So is it true that the left side equals the right side? Yes. So we know that 5, positive 5, is the solution for x. So this is called a one-step addition subtraction equation. All right, so we're going to try some more here. All right, and then you'll have a chance to try some on your own. So I'm going to work through this one and then see how we do. Here we go. You all probably know just by looking at that the answer is 3. But let's show our steps. Build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. What's in my yard right now? +5, because it's by the house. What's the opposite of +5? -5. Copy, paste, copy, paste. If I haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. And when we tug award those, we end up with 0, which is good because we were trying to clean the yard, so that we do want that to be a 0. And we get the value is 3. So if I substitute a 3 back in here, is it true that 3 plus 5 equals 8? Is that true? Is 3 the solution? Yes. So I'm not even going to tug award that just because all the math was positive integers. Okay. If you need to rewind, go ahead and do that at any point. So next problem, here we go. We build our house. Oh boy, I see some chops going on here. I build my fence, clean my yard, clean my yard. So I got to clean this out of the yard. It's got to go over the fence. But before I do that, I see that sign that says take the opposite of -3. Take the opposite of -3 really becomes a positive. That's my chop. So now when I clean the yard, I'm going to subtract 3, copy, paste, copy, paste. If I haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. This now was a +3 because of the chop that happened. And we get 0, which is what we wanted when we cleaned the yard. On the right-hand side, we have 5 minus 3 is 2. So we substitute back in, and we ask ourselves, is that true? Is it true that 2 plus 3 equals 5? Is that true? And we'd say, yes, that's the solution, that 2 plus 3 equals 5. Okay, so we're at the 8-minute mark. We're going to try 2 more here, and then I'm going to give you a few to try on your own. Okay, guys, so all addition and subtraction in today's lesson. When we get to the next lesson, we're going to do multiplication and division, how it looks a little bit different on those steps. So we're going to build our house around the variable. We're going to build our fence. We're going to clean our yard. So we're going to throw this over the fence. In order to do that, we have to go inverse or opposite. So we're going to add 3, copy, paste, copy, paste. If I haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. We get 0. And check out what happens on the right side. If I were to tug a war, the right side, my neighbor's yard, I have 3 players on team negative, and I have 3 players on team positive. Who wins? Nobody wins. It's a tie. So if we substitute that back into the original statement, I'm going to grab my highlighter here so you can see what happens when we substitute this 0 in. So I'm going to rewrite this statement. And we would have 0 minus 3 equals -3. Is it true that -3 equals -3? Yes. So we know that 0 is the solution to the equation. I'm going to undo that because that's a complete disaster what I just did. But yes, 0 is the solution for x. Okay, crew, 10-minute mark. We can do this. Super, super important skills. This is the foundation of everything you need to do as we move to more advanced algebra. So I really need you to rock it on this stuff. Build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. So we're going to grab the house and the sign in front. Remember, we always need that jersey. What jersey? What team are you on? We need the jersey. So make sure you grab sign always in front. Clean yard, clean yard. So we're going to move this out of the yard. What is it that has to go out of the yard? The -2. So most of you see that as a -2. You can think of it as kind of like a subtract 2. We're going to add 2 to clean the yard, clean the yard. I'm going to draw a big line here so you can separate. Copy, paste, copy, paste. Now, when we tug of war here, we end up with 0, which is awesome because we were trying to clean the yard. If I haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. So we get x. And when we tug of war here, we have 7 players on team negative, 2 players on team positive. Negative is stronger by 5 players. So we get -5 as the result. So if we substitute back into the equation, we would have -2 plus -5 equals -7. That's what this equation says. Is that true? Well, if we tug of war this side, we end up with -7 equals -7. Yeah, that's true. So we know that -5 is the solution for x, is the correct answer for x. Okay, friends, so I'd like you to try these 4. The x's some of the x's have moved to different locations. Looks like they're all addition. Maybe I don't want you to have to do those 4. Let's try these 4 instead. These are better ones. Try these 4. So pause the video at this time, and then we'll go over them and see how you did. Make sure you're showing your work. Make sure you show your steps, your copy, your paste, your build your house, and so on. Okay, friends, so you had enough time to solve that. Let's go ahead and see how you did. Build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. To do that, we go opposite on the operation, copy, paste, copy, paste. If I haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. When I tug of war here, I have 3 players on team negative and I have 7 players on team positive. Team positive wins with 4 extra players. So the question now, is that correct solution? Did I make any mistakes? Just because I solved it doesn't mean it's correct. So we plug back into this equation. Let's see how you did. So we plug back in. We have 4 minus 7. Does that equal -3? So if I build a new tug of war of that, 4 is on team positive. That's the jersey. 7 is on team negative. That's the jersey. Team negative wins by 3. And isn't that what we were looking for? So we would say yes, 4 is the solution to P, is the correct answer for P. So keep track of your score. Hopefully you are 1 for 1 at this point. We have 3 left for today and we are out. Okay, let's do it. Build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. So the variable is Z. Remember we need the jersey in front. Take the sign in front. What team are they on? We need that jersey. So the 12 has to leave. In order to get the 12 to leave, we have to go opposite, which is subtract it, because currently it's a +12. I can't make a positive, sorry. Copy, paste, copy, paste. So whatever we do on the left, we do on the right. So our goal is to get the house alone and all the stuff in the yard out. So this is 0 when we tug of war. If I haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. And then on the left-hand side, I'm going to have to solve this operation, which we have 8 players on team positive. We have 12 players on team negative. Team negative has more players. How many extra players? 4 extra players, because 12 is 4 greater than 8. So the result that is -4. So we believe that the value of Z is equal to -4. So let's check it out and see what happens. So I'm going to rewrite it above or below. We'll say below. What is true about this statement? Well, that says 8 is equal to 12 plus -4. Is that true? Is it true that this should be a -4? Well, if I tug of war that, and I put 12 players on team positive and 4 players on team negative, and notice this doesn't say opposite, so I don't have to worry about that, that would be +8. Yes, that's it. So that the right side and the left side would equal each other. 8 equals 8. So we know that -4 is the solution to z, is the correct answer for z. Okay, guys, 2 left. Hopefully you're 2 for 2. Let's keep going for it. At least 1 for 2. Make sure you're showing your steps. It's crucial that you show your steps. All your math teachers are going to expect that out of you the rest of the way, all the way through advanced higher level math courses as you go. All right, 2 problems left. See if I can extend this page for us and we will keep going. I need some more room. I can't get it to work. Okay. Anyway, build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. So we're going to clean this out of the yard. We're going to throw it out of the yard by going inverse or opposite. We're going to add 8, copy, paste, copy, paste. You got this. If I haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. This would be 0 on a tug of war, which is what we wanted to clean the yard. On the left-hand side, we have 3 players on team negative. We have 8 players on team positive. Positive wins. How many extra players? 5 extra players. So let's go back to the original statement and see if 5 is the solution. So if I take a look at this problem here, is 5 the solution? Well, it says -3 is equal to 5 minus 8. Is that true? Is -3 equal to 5 minus 8? Well, if I were to tug a war that statement, +5, -8, who's stronger? Negative, how many extra players? 3. So is it true that -3 is equal to -3? Yes. So we know that 5 is the solution for z. So it's just a way to check to make sure that we didn't make any mistakes. We didn't use the wrong sign. We didn't tug a war incorrectly, and so on. All right, we're at the 16-minute mark. 1 problem left, and we're out of here. Okay, group, here we go. Last problem of the day. Inverse operations, our job is to find the value of k by showing our work. We're not doing anything in our heads, so when we move to rational numbers, you're able to do it. Build house, build fence, clean yard, clean yard. Let's move this out of the yard. So the operation to move it out of the yard would be minus or subtract. If I haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. And on the left-hand side, we have 14 and 6, all on team negative, team negative, team negative. All of those players are on team negative, so the result of that is -20. Our job now is to take that -20 and plug it back into this equation. Is it true that the left side equals the right side? So I have -14 equals -20 plus 6. Is that true? So if I were to tug a war that, what do I get as a result? So I have 20 players on team negative. I have 6 players on team positive. Who is stronger? Negative. How many extra players? 14. Does the left side equal the right side? Yes. So we know that -20 is the solution for k. So to sum up our lesson today, make sure that you're showing your steps. So if you have this as a problem, we build house, we build fence. Your house, this is all your yard. This is your house. You want to clean your yard. All the stuff in the yard's got to go by doing opposite, copy, and paste over the fence. If I haven't used it, drag it down, drag it down. When we tug a war that's 0. That's good. That's where we're cleaning the yard. And the final step would be to tug a war over here. 2 players, 4 players, all these are on -6 side. And the last step would be to plug in -6 plus 4. Does that equal -2? If I tug a war that, 6 here, 4 there, -2. Does -2 equal -2? Yes. We know then that -6 is the solution for x. So that's just this is the summary of what we just talked about in our work today. Okay, have a glorious night. Nice job. Keep it up. You can do this. This is your future. You got this.